only 8 years, when 3 scientists, Dr. Furchgott, Luignaro, and Dr. Murad, discovered that the EDRF was indeed a gas called nitric oxide. And it was in 1998, 10 years later, those 3 men received the Nobel Prize for discovering nitric oxide. Now, what is it about nitric oxide that makes it worthy of a Nobel Prize? Well, let's look at some of the functions. 1, nitric oxide will keep all the cellular elements within our bloodstream flowing smoothly like Teflon rather than Velcro. It keeps things from getting sticky. Number 2, nitric oxide is the strongest dilator in the body, vessel dilator. And when you climb stairs, for example, the arteries to your heart, the arteries to your legs, they widen, they dilate. That's nitric oxide. Number 3, nitric oxide will protect the wall of the artery from becoming thick and stiff or inflamed and protect us from getting high blood pressure or hypertension. Number 4 is the absolute key. A safe and normal amount of nitric oxide will protect us all from ever developing blockages and plaque. However, when you think about it, everybody on the planet Earth who has coronary artery disease has their disease because in the previous decades, they have so sufficiently trashed, injured, compromised, and turned their endothelial system into an absolute train wreck that they no longer have enough nitric oxide to protect themselves from making blockages and plaque. However, the good news is this is not a malignancy. It's a benign foodborne disorder. And once you can get patients to understand that never, ever, ever again are they to pass through their lips a single morsel that is going to further injure an already train-wrecked endothelium, because then the endothelium will recover, make enough nitric oxide so we can not only halt disease progression, but we will often see elements of disease reversal. Now, about this time, when you look out at the audience, I can see people scratching their heads wondering, golly gee whiz, I wonder how much nitric oxide I've got. Now, we don't have a good way to measure this, or a handy way in a doctor's office, but I will share with you, when it's done with the research, you take an ultrasound probe and pass it over the brachial artery at the elbow, so you now have an understanding of the diameter of the brachial artery at the elbow. Then for 5 minutes, you will encircle the upper arm with a blood pressure cuff that you will inflate above systolic blood pressure, so that for 5 minutes, there's absolutely zero blood flow to your forearm and hand. Yes, I've had that done, and no, it's not habit forming. Then you release the cuff, and once again, take the ultrasound probe and measure again the new diameter of the brachial artery. And in a normal individual, it'll increase 30% because of the outpouring of nitric oxide while that cuff was being released. Now, the third thing, actually, let's talk about Robert Vogel. Robert Vogel was chairman of cardiology at the University of Maryland, and he took a group of healthy young subjects to a fast food restaurant that is characterized by arches, which are golden. One half of the group had cornflakes, and then they had the brachial artery tourniquet test, and their result was normal. The other group had the hash brown and sausages. Within 120 minutes after that meal, they could not dilate the artery. That single meal of hash browns and sausage had so trashed, so injured, so compromised the endothelial output of nitric oxide, those young people could not dilate the artery. However, being young, as they followed them into the late afternoon and early evening, they began to recover. But you and I know that the next morning for breakfast, it'll probably be scrambled eggs and bacon. Lunchtime, white bread with mayonnaise and cold cuts. Supper time, baked potato with sour cream, lamb chops, vegetables soaked in butter, ranch dressing on a salad, ice cream for dessert. So here in the good old USA, we start out with our children beginning to injure, compromise the endothelial system. And it's no surprise that by the time we're in our 40s, we see this tsunami of cardiovascular disease, which has been brewing since we were children. Now, let's just review the functions of nitric oxide. Prevents stickiness, strongest vasodilator, avoids arterial thickening and prevents blockages, prevents smooth muscle migration and destroys foam cells. Now, on this next slide, there are 4 wonderful defense mechanisms that we have. We only have time today to discuss the endothelial cell. However, I want you to know that all 4 of these defense mechanisms are going to be absolutely optimized when you're eating whole food, plant-based nutrition. Now, let's talk about where the rubber meets the road. You got to do some research. Well, what happened is this was a small study that I did as the first one. It was small because I was still tied up with my surgical obligations. And we had nothing against women. We did a subsequent study where we had more women. And we wanted to try to have them avoid eating foods that would injure their endothelium. So not a drop of oil. Olive oil, corn oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, coconut, palm oil, oil in a cracker, oil in a chip, oil in a piece of bread, oil in a salad dressing. I wrote a paper that was published in the International Journal of Disease Reversal and Prevention in 2019 entitled, "Is Oil Healthy?" where I review the animal studies and the human studies showing how oil injures the endothelial cells. Also, we wanted these patients to eliminate animal protein, meat, fish, chicken, fowl, turkey, and eggs. Also, I wanted them to eliminate, not shown here, sugar, eliminate dairy, milk, cream, butter, cheese, ice cream, and yogurt, and caffeinated coffee. Now, for those of you who are a little nervous about what I just said about oil, here's an example of a peer-reviewed scientific article showing how oil injures endothelial cells. Olive, soybean, and palm oil intake have a similar acute detrimental effect over the endothelial function in healthy young subjects. Now, I want to shift gears a little bit for a study that was done by Stanley Hazen at the Cleveland Clinic Department of Urology. And you can see on the slide up here, all those items are animal foods. And what Stanley Hazen did was he fed these foods to omnivores and then checked the ability of the bacteria in the omnivore to metabolize lecithin and carnitine into trimethylamine. Now, trimethylamine is rapidly oxidized by your liver to trimethylamine oxide. And that molecule, Stanley Hazen found out, was deleterious to your blood vessels. So here we go. We start with lecithin and carnitine, which is in the animal food you eat. It's the gut bacteria of an omnivore that have the capacity to metabolize lecithin and carnitine into trimethylamine oxide, which promotes vascular disease. But the thing that was quite striking that Stanley Hazen found out that was when he fed a piece of steak to somebody who was totally plant-based, they did not make trimethylamine. Why? People who are totally plant-based do not possess the bacteria in their gut that has the capacity to metabolize lecithin and carnosine into trimethylamine. Another powerful reason to remain plant-based. Now, this is a slide that has nothing to do with vascular disease, but it was such a powerful historical moment. I kind of like to include it. This came about with the World Health Organization in October of 2015. Imagine it. People from all different countries throughout the world got together at the WHO and agreed that